What's up, YouTube? For today's video, this is going to be our guide on how to use Inteleon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing some competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section of the video. Drop a like on the video if you're enjoying this, if it helps you out, all those sort of stuff, and let's have a look at it. So Inteleon is going to be coming out in its raid very, very soon in the next few hours. So I'm thinking, right, what sort of sets would work on it. So usually what worked on it best last generation was a choice spec set. So this is the set you'll probably see the most. So let's have a little bit of a look at. Now, as for its abilities, this is sort of up to what you would want to do. So it gets Torrent, which is kind of situational, as well as Sniper. So I've run Torrent on this one because I feel like it's probably going to be a little bit more reliable if you do take a little bit more damage over the course of the battle. You know, Torrent Hydro Pump is going to be doing like a lot of damage. Other than that, you're just sort of waiting for a critical hit that may or may not happen to get a boost. So I feel like Torrent is probably the better ability on this set. So of course, it's a choice spec set. We've got Hydro Pump as its strongest water move at 110 base power. 80% actually is pretty good, and we've got Ice Beam for a ice move for coverage for any like grass Pokemon, you know, flying Pokemon, dragon types, ground types, all that sort of stuff. If you just wanted a more accurate, move for ground types, it's not bad either. Now, I've given it Dark Pulse as another coverage move here too. It gets a couple of coverage moves. It doesn't get a wild amount of special moves, but it gets sort of enough. Now, with Terra Blast being a new move on it, and the Terra and stuff like that, I was thinking to myself, what would be the best? So, usually this draws out a electric type move. It could even draw out a grass move too, but I felt like ground would probably work the best on it, right? So, I've given this a way to hit ground type Pokemon. So, I've got Terra Blast ground, and that's going to be really, really good. So, you know, when he comes in, maybe a speedy electric type Pokemon, or just an electric type Pokemon in general, you could go ahead and use Terra Blast ground and actually, you know, be able to hit it for super effective damage. But really, there's not too much else outside of the realms of ground. There's a couple of other things you might use. You could go, I'm trying to think, you might be able to go Terra Electric. That's another one too. Just thinking that would give you a way to hit water type Pokemon, because Inteleon does get walled by bulky water type Pokemon, which are quite special defensive, so that could be a good way to get around it. So giving yourself Terra Blast Electric. So that's probably probably the most set you're going to see with Inteleon that's going to work. You could have variants with without specs, maybe with Life Orb or Expert, maybe Expert Belt or something like that. That's another item that could work on there too. But yeah, that's going to be the main set you will see. So I wanted to touch on this next set. Of course, this is more of a gimmick, but I mainly wanted to bring light to the move Focus Energy not being on Inteleon anymore. So in the past, you could have a Focus Energy Snipe Shot set. Now, this would give a 100% chance of a critical hit, and it was really, really good. You could just load on the normal special moves, and it wouldn't have to rely on choice specs to do like crazy damage. Plus, it would stack with Sniper as well. And when you get a crit, Sniper activates, and you get a multiplier of 1.5 times on top there. So obviously it's doing like insane amount of damage, and you're not locked into one move, which makes it really good. Obviously the slow part about it is you've got to set up the Focus Energy. However, that's not in the game anymore. They took Focus Energy away from Inteleon, which is yeah, that's a very, very big nerf for this sort of set. So I don't think many people are going to be using Snipe Shot anymore. The best you can get out of this set, if you really, really want to use Snipe Shot as a critting set, I've given it Scope Lens there to increase the critical hit by 1 stage. Snipe Shot already has 1 stage of crit, so you've got a decent chance of getting a crit, but of course it's not 100% accurate. Another move that will work well with crits here it gets is Air Cutter. The only problem about Air Cutter is it is kind of weak there, even if you do manage to get a critical hit as well. But yeah, you could go Air Slash if you want that too. That's got a little bit more base power. But yeah, you probably want to go Air Cut if you're trying for a crit set, because that will stack with the Sniper. Doesn't really get any more critting moves of that on the special side, so I gave it Ice Beam and Dark Pulse there to round it off. The EVs, same with the Choice Specs ones. They're exactly the same. I've given it Timber Nature and Max Special Attack and Max Speed on both of these. I think it works the best there. I like Inteleon being at max speed, so it can outspeed everything and get a powerful hit in there first. You could go Modest as well if you really wanted to. Just looking at both of these sets, you could, this is the difference. So you do lose a lot of speed there. Like, a lot of Pokemon will now outspeed you after that. And Inteleon isn't exactly what you call the bulkiest Pokemon in the world. So I would be definitely running that with Timid if you're going for a special set for sure. As for this one, you might be able to run like a Terra Blast in there too for a bit of coverage, but that's about it. Unfortunately, the Snipe Shot set with Focus Energy is no more. It was a very, very good set. You could get crazy crits everywhere there. Obviously, it had its counters, but it was a unique set to run, and it was still pretty good as well. It I probably count the Spec set and the Snipe Shot set in the past very, very good for Inteleon, of course. Now, outside of these two sets, it starts to get more gimmicky and things like that, but we're going to have a look at the whole lot. Next set I could suggest here is a little bit of a variant from the Choice Spec set. We got a Life Orb set here. This one is almost exactly the same, except we're using Life Orb this time. So Life Orb is still going to give us a nice boost of 1.3. We've got Torrent as well, which still works better than Sniper, and we've got Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, and I've given this one Terra Blast Electric this time. So like the other one, you could go ground or electric. I feel like they're good. If you really want to go water, you can as well for Terra type. If you really wanted to like boost the power, you just have to adjust Terra Blast for something else. It doesn't really, as I said, it doesn't really get a huge amount of special moves that it's quite barren when you look at it, like just showing you some of the moves there. You might want to, if you want even more damage, you might want to go Blizzard over Ice Beam, but then you're sort of looking at like risky sort of stuff. You want to be able to land that attacking move there. It does get Shadow Ball. That's another option. You could look at it as well. But I'll go with some more options there in a sec for all the special moves and things like that. But yes, that is the Air Slash isn't bad either for other like fighting types and things like that. Those sort of things, and flinching and stuff like that. But that's kind of gimmicky in my opinion. So yeah, that's the Life Orb variant there. I mean, you could possibly just run this with a Life Orb if you don't want to be locked in. So that's another option too. Another one you could run on there as well would be Expert Belt. I did mention that. That would be pretty good if you can. It does get reasonable amount of coverage, so it might be able to land those super effective attacks. So the extra 1.2 times might be nice, and you won't have to give up the life or Life Orb there. Anyway, let's have a look at the physical side of it. So thankfully, it does still get Sword Dance. So physical Inteleon is still a thing you could try. It's not going to be probably as good as a special set, but it adds some extra surprise. So with this set, we've got Torrent as the ability, as mostly. We've got Lumberry as the item. I like to run Lumberry as the item on physical sets. It just works very well, especially getting around any Will-O-Wisp users and stuff like that. So we've got Sword Dance to boost attack. We've got Waterfall. Now, it gets Liquidation as well. I just like the fact that it's going to be outspeeding most things, and Waterfall's got that 20% chance to flinch, which could be very, very handy, because even after a Sword Dance, Inteleon does struggle a lot doing any damage whatsoever. Now, I've given this one Terra Blast Ice, practically because it doesn't get Ice Spinner, which I found very, very disappointing. The best physical ice move it gets is like Ice Shard. That's it. So I was really hoping it would get Ice Spinner, but it did not. So the next best thing you can give it is Terra Blast Ice. Now, that's going to be the same as the raid coming up as well. So, it actually gets Fell Sting. I was hoping they kept this move in the game for it, and they did. So, Fell Stinger is kind of unique, because say if you got a couple of Sword Dances up, right, or one Sword Dance, you went for a Waterfall, you put a Pokemon on a low amount of health, or they had Sturdy, or, they were in range, you could go for Fell Stinger. Now, Fell Sting is quite a weak move at 50 base power. However, if you get a feint of it, it gets +3 in attack straight away. And then that Inteleon, after a +3 in attack, is going to be hitting very, very hard with Waterfall and, its other moves there. It definitely will not be a meme there. It will be a force to be reckoned with for sure. But yes, that's my physical Inteleon. You can give that a go if you like. It's definitely a little bit more of a meme. Now, let's have a little bit of a look at doubles here. As for doubles, this is going to be sort of the set that might work best. You could definitely use a Specs one and doubles too. I'm not saying it wouldn't work. But let's have a look at moves that are purely based around doubles, which could, possibly work. I am going to actually suggest some Pokemon that works well with encounters and stuff like that too, and some final thoughts on it too. So that is coming up. So with Inteleon, as I mentioned, it does get Blizzard. So this might be good on a team with Snow. So you've got like Slowking with Snowscape. You've got Abomasnow, that could work too. So Abomasnow and Inteleon could work together. And set the Snipe and go for Blizzard. That could definitely work. You've got Surf here as well. So Surf is going to be hitting both of the opponent's Pokemon, which are going to be very, very nice. Of course, doing some good damage. I've got Air Cutter as well. So Air Cutter, interesting enough, hits both of the foes. It's a little bit gimmicky for sure, so you may not want to use that one, but that is another option there if you want all the spread sort of moves. And we've got Terra Blast Ground on this. I thought that'd be a good option for any Volt Switch Pokemon. Thunderbolt Thunder, those sort of moves would be, pretty threatening towards Inteleon, so you could hit back there with the Terra Blast Ground on any of those, I'm sure like Steel-type Pokemon, Electric-type Pokemon, those sort of things there. And it'd be a bit of a surprise. Now, I've given this one wide lens purely because we've got like Blizzard, it's not very accurate, and Air Cutter, but you could honestly give this a lot of items. Like any of the items we've already gone over before. Assault Vest wouldn't all be that bad either. You could give it Assault Vest for a little bit of extra special bulk. I know that its special is not very good, but this might allow you to live another hit. Now, you could go, I already said this one before, you got Life Orb there, too. You've got... No, that's not going to work. So I was thinking, like, could you use Weakness Policy, but it's a little bit too weak, so probably not. Specs could work as well. If you want to put Specs on there, that could absolutely work for sure. I'm trying to think. Expert Belt, I've already gone over that one. Heavy Duty Boots is another one too, but I probably wouldn't worry about that. And doubles, that's more of a single sort of item there for sure. Just going over some other sort of stuff here. Really, there's not that much. Covert Cloak, that could be another one too, but yeah, that could be handy, like, Fake Out and stuff like that. Things like that, that could be, it's quite a fast Pokemon, so you don't normally have to worry about those sort of things, but apart from anything outspeeding or, like, those priorities kind of moves, that could be, reasonably handy there. If you've got any more doubles sets, feel free to, or any set suggestions, feel free to do it. Like, as I said, this Pokemon is kind of, it's kind of limited for sure. Let's have a look at this final set here. I'm going to do some more, of course, but, we're going to have a look at a Choice Band set. So, I will mention UTurn as well. So, if you, going back to our, I know I'm sort of jumping here, but going back to our spec set at the start, if you feel like there's no point running Dark Pulse on here, you can actually put UTurn on there. And UTurn isn't all that bad for scouting. So, you could even adjust it. You could even, really, if you wanted to, you could even adjust this one to Hasty instead, right? That'll give it a little bit more attack. And you could drop that in there if you wanted to. If you really wanted to, you could go for U-turn if you're sort of just want to scout and then use your attacking moves. So you could lead with it, those sort of things. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. So we got U-turn here, we got Waterfall, it gets Sucker Punch, which is pretty interesting, and we got Aqua Jet as well. Is it going to be hitting really hard? Nope, it's not. But it might be good to a mid to late game sweeper to maybe finish some Pokemon off there. If you go Terra-type Waterfall, that's going to do reasonable damage for sure. And if you're in Torrent range, it's going to do some really good damage. So of course, it's situational, right? I've given this one Torrent. You could go with Sniper if you want, but I feel like Torrent's going to be better all the time. It's unfortunate, it's very, very unfortunate with Sniper because that works so well with Focus Energy, Once you got the crit and Snipe Shot, it gave that really nice power boost. So let me suggest some, it would work well on rain teams as well, so let me suggest a couple of Pokemon. So we got Pelipper. That's always a good Pokemon there as a teammate. Of course, with Drizzle, that could be really good if you want like a rain team and stuff like that. That could shine pretty nicely. Another good partner for it. Just trying to think now that I've just brought into game. I'm thinking anything that's gonna. You know what? I'm speaking of that. How about Toxic? This is kind of specific, but what about? We've even got something like on rain teams, right? We could even have like Toxicroak. That wouldn't be bad either. So I'm just trying to think of some little options here. That's more of like a kind of specific one though. But anything that's gonna like have a look at some ground types here. Let's bring it up. I just don't see this getting a huge amount of usage, you feel me? Like, so we got Clodsire, we got Water Absorb, sorry, not Water Absorb, we can go like Unaware Clodsire. That could work really well for any electric type Pokemon you're worried about, so I could definitely see that one working for sure. This does really struggle with bulky water type Pokemon too. That is something you have to worry about, so it might be good if you have some sort of electric type Pokemon with it too. So any sort of ground type Pokemon, let's have a look at electric. Let's bring this up here. So, okay, we're Rotom Wash isn't bad. That's a good one. So Rotom Wash. We've got Iron Hands, of course. And, you've got some other Pokemon like, Magnezone could be good as well. You got Pawmont. There's quite a few Pokemon there that could go pretty well. Even got Rotom Heat. I could see that working too. So you've got quite a few, like, team suggestions and stuff there, depending on whether you're playing singles or doubles or, whatever rules you kind of want to play there. As for counters, I think a great counter would be Gastrodon. Gastrodon with Storm Drain would be a really, really good counter, especially if it was like, special defensive and stuff, which, a lot of them actually are. Let me just have a look for a second there. So, yeah, we don't have Grassnot on that at all. So, yeah, I was just having to check that. But, yeah, Gastrodon's a good one. That would work really nicely as a counter to Inteleon. Any sort of bulky, like, Vaporeon, that's another good one. Just sort of, like, going over on my mind now. So, Vaporeon's another, good counter here. Any real special defensive Pokemon, I think will be very, very nice. So let me just, you know what? I'm just going to bring them up right now. Some of these won't be, obviously, Toxapex, that's a good one. Yep, Toxapex is a great one too. Obviously, Blissey. We got Wo-Chin there. So, Wo-Chin's good, but the only thing it has to worry about is, like, U-Turn if it does have it. So, or Ice Beam will do, like, reasonable damage to it as well. So, I wouldn't call that like a complete counter, but yeah, like Blissey, Toxapex, all those sort of, even Sylveon, that would actually be really good too. Umbreon, that's going to be annoying too. Even Cryogonal, you've got some really bulky Pokemon. So any special defensive Pokemon is going to be a problem for Inteleon, But yeah, any sort of partners there that would work well that are ground. I went over Clodsire already. I will suggest a couple more. I like to make a couple of suggestions there in case, it's not going to work on your team. So, yeah, so we've got, Tinglu. Tinglu's going to be really good. So, the only thing is weak to Bug, but that's kind of moot. So, that's fine. So, you've got Tinglu. You've got anything here. You've got Great Tusk, Garchomp. Those Pokemon are good for swapping into the electric type moves and then threatening back with a ground type move. So, that could work very, very well as a partner Pokemon there. Try and think of any other sort of counters here to it. There's not too many. Even something like Fluttermane would probably really, really counter it as well, for sure. So, just for example, so we've got like Fluttermane. Any high special defensive Pokemon are going to be a very, very big problem for it. So, let's have a last little look of all its sort of stats here and stuff like that. See if I can give you anything sort of extra information for it. But, yeah, it's kind of barren. So, let's have a look quickly at its status moves here. So, okay. So, it does get Baton Pass, which is kind of interesting. So, you might be able to go for a Baton Pass and Sword Dance combination. That could work too if you really want to pass it on. It does have good speed. Its bulk's not really that good, though, so you'd have to run something like at least max health and max speed or something like that. So you might be able to get a Sword Dance Baton Pass off. But there's Pokemon that are better suited to that, so that's going to be more of a gimmick there. Just having a look, so we got Agility. If you wanted to pass off stats, you could give it Agility, I guess, as well. So you may as well, try and pass as many as you can, right? Just having a look here, we got Screens. It's not really bulky enough to do anything with Screens, unfortunately, so I don't see that really working that well. It does have Haze too, so maybe you could start it off. I'm just sort of thinking of like a lead set you could run. So we've got Haze, Taunts. You could give it Hydro Pump or Snipe Shot, and you could give it Ice Beam. That wouldn't be a bad sort of, kind of anti-lead thing. So like we could go, let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Make it timid. Let's put the last little bit into the events there. So yeah, you could have that. You could give it Focus Sash or something like that as the lead, or you could give it like Heavy Duty Boots. This is more for singles, by the way. Sort of gone over the double stuff mainly. So yeah, you could run something like this as a start. So you could taunt. It's a fast taunter. Your fast Haze as well. That could definitely work too. So that's an option you could go for there. If you wanted to drop Haze, you could give it U-Turn. That could work at the same time. So But I feel like Hydro Pump and Ice Beam are probably going to do like a good amount of damage to like, the lead Pokemon. So, there's another little interesting sort of idea for you. Terra type, well, I probably, Terra Water. I just go for that. Just some, extra damage and those sort of things there. Where are we up to? We're just looking at its status move. So just going down here, we've got Akaring Double Team. That's more scummy sort of stuff there. You might be able to do something with Sub and Double Team if you, depending on what rules. Oh, it gets our Snowscape as well. So, yep, as I mentioned this one before, it could work on a Snow Team. So you can get that snow going. It does get Soak, which is pretty cool, but you can't really utilize Soak all that well. It doesn't really get any, doesn't get any Grass or Electric moves. So you'd have to go like Soak and then a Terra, Grass, or Electric, or I don't know, something like that, right? Whatever strategy you're planning to run. Looking at its physical sets, they're very, very barren as well. I pretty much went over all of these moves here. We went over a Fell Stinger set. We did like a Flinching Waterfall, Banded U-Turn. U-Turn's good on the mix set too. Sucker Punch was good on the physical. We had Liquidation there too, so if you wanted to put that instead of Waterfall on that physical set, you could go for that. I just like that it gets Flinching. Oh, Acrobatics. It does have an Acrobatics set. You know what? We could run like a... I'm thinking like a Weakness Policy set here. This would be good with Torrent. Let's give this a go. It's going to be a bit of fun, this set, but it could have some very nice potential. So we've got Acrobatics. That's going to be working. So this set, obviously, you want to be sending it into... You have to be sending this into something that you know is going to activate Weakness Policy, correct? So, yeah, so you've got Acrobatics, Liquidation, and then you've got, like, Sucker Punch for anything that outspeeds you. And I'd probably give it... you could give it Ice Shot or Terra. Actually, I would give it Terra Blast. So you got something to... Terra Blast. Ooh, any Terra Blast there could work, rather nicely on this for sure. So you've got like pretty good coverage here. I might even go Terra Blast Ice, say if you had like a Dragon type. So yeah, so that set could actually be pretty good. I think that that's pretty much it for all the even like it's decent, it's fun, but it could still be obviously shut down. But I think that's pretty much it. Inteleon just is so. It's so barren, you know what I'm saying? Like, super barren. Like, looking at special moves, we've got Air/Blizzard. It does get Chilling Water too, but I don't know. It's not really a bulky enough Pokemon to make use of that. It's better just spamming its most powerful moves. We've got Ice Beam. Does get Hydro Cannon as well, but that's not really that good. Yeah, that's honestly, it does get Water Pledge. If you want to try the sort of the Grass or Fire Pledge Rainbow strategy in doubles, you could go for that. That's about all I can suggest extra there for doubles. But yeah, that's pretty much it. To summarize, Inteleon is mainly going to be using the Choice Spec set there that we went over earlier on. It's a fast special attacker with a limited special move pool, so it's going to be using a Water move, an Ice move, and a coverage move like Ghost. It might possibly have a Terra, Electric, or Ground to surprise you, and you don't really have to worry too much about the Focus Energy Snipe Shot anymore because it's not going to be used because Focus Energy, it doesn't get it. So yeah. That's pretty much it for Inteleon. Hope you enjoyed this one, people. I'll catch you next time. Peace out.